Lately, I've been feeling a lot of anxiety. Social media, too much time on my phone, living in a busy city. I needed a break from city life and the quote-unquote modern world. So it felt pretty serendipitous when our friends Kim and Emil invited my partner Michael and I to join them in driving all the way from Toronto to Colorado to go bouldering in the Rocky Mountains. It felt like the perfect chance to return to nature. We take turns driving the 2,500 kilometers, and after a couple days, those beautiful mountains finally come into view. I can't wait to set up my tent and get this adventure started. Little do I know, it may not be quite the escape I planned. We aren't hardcore roughing it by any means. Our food comes from the grocery store. We're staying at a campground where we're provided with a bear box and access to well water. We're still very much benefiting from some modern conveniences. But still, the mere act of going out into the woods, even if we are sleeping in the cover of a nylon tent and eating food cooked on burners, there's a sense of rewilding that comes with it, a return to the simplicity of the natural world. The physical challenge begins when we head out to our first boulder field, otherwise known as a crag.
I'm not gonna lie, it's day one and we're just climbing down to where we need to start actually climbing, and it's pretty challenging and I'm a little tired. But I'm just gonna keep getting stronger, right?
We would later find out locals consider this the hardest approach into a crag in the area, and they thought we were pretty loony for attempting it on our first day coming into the mountains from sea level. Ah well, you live and learn. We set up our pads and start climbing. Or at least my friends start climbing. Honestly, I'm pretty pooped from the altitude and the hike, so I'm mostly here for the flowers, the views, and to keep us all cool.
It's good.
Pretty soon, everyone is equally tired and ready to start the lengthy hike out.
It is high altitude here. I forget what altitude, but it's high enough that oxygen is a little more limited. So really gotta take our time so we don't get too pooped.
By the time we get back to the campsite and refuel, I'm certain a deep, exhausted sleep is ahead of me. But the moment my head hits the ground, it feels like every anxious thought I could possibly think of comes flooding back. I worry about work, money, health issues, social interactions, the future. It's like my brain is a speeding train that can't slow down. The night is a long and restless one. But when I wake and find myself on a hike to our next crag, the anxious thoughts drift away again.
The hike today is a lot longer. It's like 5K out, 5K back to get to where we're gonna be climbing, but a lot easier, a lot fewer giant boulders to climb over on the way down and the way up. So that's a perk. And I think the altitude is getting a bit better, and it is just so freaking beautiful out here.
I find myself completely present, focusing on each footstep, every bird chirp, pausing to take in each stunning view. And yes, sometimes singing to myself for my own amusement.
Up where they walk, up where they run, up where they stay all day.
I love nature, even when my clumsy self doesn't always belong.
She is beauty, she is grace.
One soggy foot later, I try out a few climbs, but these rocks are pretty challenging for a newer climber like me. My friends are much stronger and experienced than I am. And though I love bouldering, I also love keeping my bones intact. So I head off on a solo adventure. The rock here is so cool. There's these pinks and these sharp blacks. And sometimes you'll even get these white, I want to say quartz, but I don't know if they're actually quartz. Granite may be very hard to climb, but it is very cool to look at. A little time, just me in the mountains, is exactly what I need. I feel connected, at peace. Like maybe I've got this whole stress thing figured out. But that night, the anxious thoughts return with a vengeance. Sleep is so fleeting that I take to the hammock to try to get some rest outside. The fresh air helps, moving my body helps, and pretty soon, my heart feels centered again. I even get a redo at the log bridge and don't wipe out.
Nailed it!
The way bouldering works is someone will create a route to get from the bottom to the top of a rock and give it a grade in terms of difficulty. Folks then use a guidebook like this one and try to complete climbs of greater and greater difficulty. I've been bouldering for a couple years now, but the climbs in this area happen to be too hard for me. So I make my own. It's fun and freeing to feel like a kid again, just climbing rocks in the forest. And I even finish off the day with a swim in an icy alpine lake.
Let's go! You just dove right in there.
And so the days go. Hiking out to a crag, readying our hands and bodies for the challenge ahead. It is beautiful to get to know the feel and intricacies of each rock more intimately. And it feels incredible each time I navigate my body to the top. My evening anxieties don't completely go away, but they do begin to ease. And I come to realize these days camping and climbing in the wild have taught me something. Sometimes it feels like the world is changing so fast, and our brains can whir away quickly inside our bodies, but nature is slow. This experience has shown me that, no, I can't exactly escape my anxiety by running off into the woods. I won't be saying goodbye to my therapist anytime soon, but touching rocks, wrapping my arms around a tree, feeling the earth under the soles of my feet, it sure does help. In these moments, my body and mind slow, like they're taking a sigh of relief. I feel completely present with myself and the ever-changing world. And I know it doesn't take driving halfway across the continent to get that. Moving forward, I'm aiming for less phone time and more earth time. I'll keep you posted on how that goes.